Hey guys, welcome to our fireside chat called What is Eating Right Anyways. So this fireside chat and all of our fireside chats fall under a foundation, a 7-layer foundation of what habits we can take care of in order to build strong health. So this is the very first foundation, like the most crucial part of all the rest of your health put together. And it's eating well, putting the right ingredients in to our system so that we can have the most vibrant health. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this tonight. So I just want to share with you before we get started that I have a new Naturally Strong Facebook page and a Naturally Strong YouTube channel where all of these fireside chats will be uploaded every week. You'll be able to, oh shoot, I missed it this week, and go and click on the one from the most recent upload. So if Facebook or if YouTube aren't, things that you do all the time, if that's not easy for you to hop onto them, then I do have a newsletter. So twice a month I'll send out the newsletter and it will just have the most recent videos that we've done on there. So if you'd like to be a part of that, send me a message or go to my website, which is passionandpurpose.live. Okay, so all of that is squared away, and I'm excited for this whole month long. Every week, every Tuesday night in March, we're going to have a fireside chat that's on gut health and how you can have this strong bottom foundation of eating well, having a healthy gut, and then absorbing to the rest of your body. True health is possible only when there's the right building blocks. Okay, so all of that being said, let's dive right in. I'm so excited for this. I can barely contain myself. Okay. So some of the things I'm going to teach you tonight will be totally new, and may possibly be a little bit overwhelming, maybe even uncomfortable. And so before we start, I wanted to just tell you some of the benefits that you'll receive from following the guidelines that I'll lay down, just so that you have something in the back of your mind to look forward to as we're talking. Okay, so one is tons of energy. So I'm normally a really bubbly, fun person. And there's been times in my life when, mental health has been a struggle and I've been kind of a dumpy, grumpy person. And when I'm eating well, I not only have enough energy to be myself, I have over the top, my kids are saying, "Mom, why are you singing this morning?" kind of energy because I love life. And so that kind of energy is possible when you're giving your body foods that don't weigh it down. Okay, a second thing that you should be able to look forward to is emotional stamina, or someone else I know put it, emotional bandwidth. It's the ability to make it through the day and not be frazzled and burnt out and just exhausted and binging on whatever substance, food, sugar, just to cope with life. You should be able to make it to the end of the day, or I guess I should say it's possible to make it to the end of the day and feel radiant. So that's a second bonus. A third bonus is solid sleep. I get solid sleep even with a nursing baby, even waking up 3 times in the night. I still don't need more than 8 hours of being in my bed. And I still have plenty of energy. So all of these things are coming together, different pieces of the building, and they all have that same foundation of eating right. Okay, so another nice little side effect is weight loss. So this last pregnancy, I only gained 30 pounds because I was eating like this, as opposed to my other 4 stinking pregnancies where I gained 40 to 60 pounds. Anyway, so this was a big difference. And it's not like it was my first or second time around. It was 1 versus 4 other pregnancies. So I only gained 30 pounds this time. And by the way, my baby, when he was 7 months old, I had lost all of the weight already. So I'm back down to pre-pregnancy weight. I have kept it off. It's sustainable. I didn't diet, and then stop and then, diet. No, I am sustaining the weight loss. That is an amazing side effect. Okay. And the last one I'll talk about here, although there's multitudes of blessings. The last one I'll talk about here is the last blessing I'll talk about here is I am pain-free. So usually when you're pregnant, especially for me, you get to that last trimester where your belly's getting huge, and it just like all these back aches and knee aches and neck aches, and you know, it just kind of hurts all the way up. And you know, like that look that pregnant ladies get where their eyes are kind of glazed over, and you're like, oh yeah, you'd stop asking them how they're doing because you know the answer is going to be that they suck right now. So you just kind of start saying, oh, you're almost there, you're going to make it, right? I didn't even experience, you know, even those normal aches and pains of being pregnant when I was eating this way. So, and even as I eat this way now, I can tell if I, you know, have a couple of days where I slip off, my joints, especially my fingers where I'm, you know, constantly using my hands and wrists for massage, they'll be achy. And when I'm eating well, they're not achy. So I just really, that's my own personal progress, personal like blessings that I can report to you, but I know that there's been hundreds of other people that can say the same and more than me, because I realize that when I'm saying all these things, I'm only a 30-something-year-old girl, and you know, to be able to say this as a 70-year-old postmenopausal woman with the same benefits, that's like a much bigger piece of the, you know, much bigger, more impressive story. So take everything that I'm telling you with just a teensy bit of hope, just like hang in there with me with a little bit of hope as I kind of go through the principles of eating really well. So I could get into the science, I can get into the who said what, I could get into the scriptures even if you'd like, but let me just tell you that what I'm about to share with you about nutrition, this is it. This is like the way that our bodies were designed to eat. This is the real deal. And I've spent hours and hours and hours in the nutrition industry looking for what is the right course. And I will tell you that this has been it for me, and it's been the answer for lots and lots of other people. And I believe even possibly it could be the answer for everyone. I did say that. So let me just tell you, let me just lay it out. I'm going to screen share a picture with you that is the food pyramid that was made by one of my favorites in nutrition. His name is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Okay, pulling up photos. Nope, that's not the right one. Stop share. I'll figure this out, you guys. Maybe it's... Okay, it's kind of sad that I can't find it right now. I know it's on here somewhere. What if I just share the screen? Oh, sorry, you guys. Well, let me see if I don't have it pulled up or something. Oh no, I definitely have it. It's up there. Okay. Well, what I'll tell you is, okay, everyone, just give me a timeout moment for a second here. Okay, there it is. I have it pulled up. Now I should be able to screen share it. There it is. Oh, ta-da! Okay. Ta-da! Okay. You've seen food pyramids before, and you probably know what to expect. But on this food pyramid, here, let me make it bigger. We've got the bulk of what we're going to eat on the very bottom is going to be greens and other vegetables. So, like, consider that greens have the most nutrient, like, capacity in them. When we eat 100 calories of greens versus 100 calories of anything else, we're getting above and beyond, like far above and beyond the nutritional capacity. So greens should make up a significant portion of our food. Another category is beans. Another category is fruits. Another category is starchy things like whole grains and potatoes. And then we've got healthy fats, nuts, seeds, and avocados. And then in the like above, like the rare stuff, like things that we almost never eat, 5%, maybe 10% of our diet or less is going to be processed foods. So this was put together by one of my favorites, like I said, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And he has done research and research and research and research. So just know that this all comes really, really, really super backed up with the science. And lots and lots of people are saying it. So there's, it comes backed up with the experts, and it also comes backed up with the scriptures. So how do I implement that food pyramid into daily life? Well, it looks something like this. I spell it out: greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, and nuts. So G-BOMBS. So if you're taking notes, GBOMBS is your acronym. And I try to get each of those categories in my diet every day. So I'm not telling you to never eat other things. I'm just telling you start crowding those other things out. And over time, as you focus on each thing a little bit more, you're going to have a lot less opportunity to eat the things that are hard on your body to digest, that are taxing on your body, or even just things that are neutral. We don't want a lot of neutral things. We want power-packed, super healthy things going on in our diet. So I'm going to start with greens, dun, 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 and I want to show you some of my favorite ways to eat greens. Okay. Greens can be kind of tough, especially if you're not used to them. So like if you're, here, let me make this bigger. I hear from people all the time, oh, I just hate spinach, or I just really don't like kale. I just never could get into collard greens or whatever. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to start off by eating, 4 cups at a time. Start by eating like 1 cup. And if you can get 1 cup of greens into your diet every day and slowly build that up, Dr. Fuhrman recommends eventually eating a pound of fresh vegetables every day. So a pound of salad, a pound of, with some kale and some onions and some, beets or whatever fun vegetables you want to have on your salad. And when I was first starting on this journey, the most realistic way for me to get that in is, and also for my kids, the most realistic way for me to get greens into my diet was smoothies, because honestly, I could hide the flavor of them. So I also could try out lots of different varieties with not different textures. So for some people, textures is a big holdup. So when you go with smoothies as your option to get greens into your diet, you can have them for breakfast, you can have them for lunch, you can have them for dessert. And you can start with, mostly fruit in your smoothies or mostly water. You don't have to dive into hardcore action-packed, only spinach smoothies. So that's one of the biggest ways that I start. And I would recommend to anyone who's a newbie on this path to eat their greens in smoothies. And then you can try a variety of greens. I have one other picture to show you that is another way that I get greens in my diet all the time. My kids love Kale Chips. Dun, 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 dun. I'll make this picture bigger in just a second. You can get that wonderful crunch of a chip by broiling kale. So I'll add just a teensy bit of flavoring to it and make it all chip tasting. And then when they come out of the broiler after just a minute or two, they have that wonderful crunch, and you're eating the most nutrient dense food on the planet. And it's delicious, desirable. It's like a chip. So who couldn't eat that, right? So just make yourself up a whole bunch of kale into chips, and then eat a little bunch of it every day. There's one way to get in your greens. Okay, so that's greens. The second category is beans. Now get this. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough protein. Beans aren't enough. Stop it. There is more protein in lentils than there is in eggs. So if you rely heavily on eggs to give you your protein every day, just know that if you had half a cup of lentils, that would be the protein that you need for the day. Unless you exercise a whole bunch or you're pregnant or whatever, still only 50 grams of protein, and that was only 1 cup of lentils. So it really isn't hard to get the protein that you need. So anyways, beans, they're like a superfood as well. And there's so many ways to get beans into your diet, but one of my favorites is bean dip. Because, you know, like it might not be easy to get in, like maybe you're thinking in your head, oh my gosh, sitting down and eating a cup of beans does not sound like a fun thing to me. Well, it's like super easy to eat beans in a dip. Like it's, you know, this bowl that I'm showing you is probably like 4 cups worth of bean dip. Like I could eat the whole thing. So, you know, just imagine this much bean dip and, you know, with just a few carrot sticks or with just a few peppers or with just a few, you know, pita chips, it doesn't take very long to go through that bean dip. So I will make up a big batch of bean dip, usually on Sundays or, you know, a day that's kind of an easier day for me. And I will put it in little 1-cup containers, 1-cup mason jars. And that's what I'll eat on, like on the go anywhere. It's super easy. It doesn't go bad in the week. It still tastes wonderful, you know, 6 days later. So don't make it hard on yourself, people. Make it cheap, make it easy, make it for real. Like it's going to be part of your life. So I eat beans lots of other ways, but that's just a simple way that most people are accustomed to seeing beans is in a dip. You guys all saw the picture for the Facebook event. One of my sneaky favorite wonderful ways to eat beans is actually as a cereal, chickpeas, in with blueberries and with chia seeds and milk. It's kind of almost like it's a cereal. So I love chickpeas like that. Okay, and one other cool way that I don't have a picture for is black bean brownies or white bean lemon bars. So you can make, you know, either one of those sneaky little ways that my kids love. You don't have to be boring or bland at all. You can have a delicious, joyful diet by eating this way. Okay, so that's beans. Now the third one here is onions, and onions kind of can be scary to some people. So I realize that everyone on this call probably is okay with cooked onions, but what Dr. Furman recommends is raw onion. At least a teensy bit every day, starting with the teensy bit. If it's intimidating to you to eat a whole heap of raw onions, then start with it like this. I start with mine because, you know, raw onions was not a flavor that I particularly loved when I started eating this way while I was pregnant. But I just let myself be all out. I let myself try it. I, you know, leaned into this and experienced it and started with teeny slivered onions. Another, you know, in the same family here is shallots or green onions or chives. Those all have the same super anti-cancer, super immune boosting abilities in the raw onions as those other, you know, green onions and chives. So if this is something new to you, I recommend just getting a little bunch of green onions and just adding, you know, one little green stalk, you know, chop that up really, really fine slivers and just kind of start experimenting with, you know, smearing that around on your soups or on your salads or, you know, on a sandwich or whatever it is. Like just start with the fine, like, ooh, I barely tasted that little sliver of onion, and build up to eventually having about a 1/4 cup of raw onions every day. Once you work up to these ideals, you know, a cup of beans, a pound of salad, a 1/4 cup of onions, then you'll have a seriously super strong immune system. I didn't talk about that earlier, but that's another thing that I enjoy is when something goes through, some kind of bug goes through town. We just had one this last winter and it's like it wiped out my daughter's whole 3rd grade class. I didn't get it. I think I felt kind of down for like maybe 1 day. But I helped her go through it and I helped my other daughter go through it and my husband caught it. Like everyone, you know, my husband catches almost everything. I love you, Matt, if you ever eventually watch this video. But he just doesn't have a really strong built up immune system. And part of it is because it comes from eating these foods. Like these foods is what gives you the power to be able to fight off germs. In fact, one of the books that Dr. Furman wrote is called Disease Proof Your Child. or Super Boost Your Immunity. Those are two different books that he wrote that just talk about how this way of eating, all of the statistics on who gets less sick and who has less emergency room visits and who has less antibiotics that they need to fill out. And like the list goes on and on. So part of that power comes from these raw onions. So if that's a kind of a difficult one for you, I would just invite you to put texture aside. I invite you to put your excuses aside, put your flavor problems aside. I hear when I talk to people all the time about the foods that I eat, oh, I could never do that. I just hate mushrooms. I just can't do mushrooms. Like I never could eat beans. I suggest to you that if you don't have the serious super health that I'm talking about, if you don't feel the energy and the vibrance and the good sleep that I'm talking about, then probably your flavor / texture issues are keeping you from having it. So it's not really that the onions that have been the same ever since Adam and Eve need to change. It could possibly be that we need to change. And I'll give you this hope that you'll start off with just a little bit, and eventually over time you'll get to the point where you really like the, that zest and that tang of like sharp onion flavor, and you miss it if you don't have it. So just start out light, be easy on yourself, and eventually you'll get, to that quarter cup of raw onions serving a day. Okay, that was the third, green beans, onions. Now we're on to M in the G-BOMBS acronym, and this is mushrooms. So mushrooms actually are best eaten cooked. So most people don't realize that. But this is one of my favorite ways to eat mushrooms. Dr. Furman says that there's huge anti-cancer benefits that come from just eating a thumb-size portion of mushrooms 3 to 4 times a week. So that's like, let's say a knuckle worth of mushroom every day. So that's like super easy to get in. Just buy yourself a little packet of mushrooms, just the cheap, button mushrooms from the store. They're only $2, and just experiment with cooking them up and just, putting a little bit here and there all over your food. This picture that I have pulled up for you is a mushroom breakfast scramble. And I love just like, I have like, at this point, I have like, 4 times as much mushrooms that I probably need in order to fit the requirement for ultimate health. But I have grown to love mushrooms, and that's saying something because I didn't love them before. So anyways, just a little bit of mushroom is all you need. And this scramble is the way I get them in. Any soup that I make, I will hide just a few mushrooms in there. I'll cut them up small enough that my kids think that they're like, hamburger or something, then not mushroom. So you can do it to yourself. If you've got to hide the mushroom, then do it. Get her done, because it's worth it. It's worth the benefits. Okay. The next category is berries. So I probably don't have to spend very much time on berries. Who doesn't love berries, right? Cherries, pomegranates, berries, and grapes all fit into this category. And so what we want to do is eat half a cup to a cup of them every day. And I have to tell you that I still don't buy them fresh most of the time. Like in the store, in the little bitty clamshells, 1, they don't taste the best that way. And 2, they're like crazy freaking expensive. So I'm still a real person that, feeds a family of 7 people on a budget. So most of my berries and grapes and raisins and all that are frozen. So I'll either hand pick them in the summer and freeze them, or I will just buy the bags of frozen berries. You can even get organic ones from Costco if that suits your fancy. So one of my favorite ways to eat berries, straight up berries and milk. I'll show you a cute picture of that if I can find it. I think this is it. Yeah, ta-da! Okay. Here is berries and milk. So I like using the frozen berries, and I'll put it in a bowl and I'll pour milk over it, and it'll freeze, the milk will freeze to the berry. And then if you stir it around a little bit, it kind of almost becomes ice creamy. And put a little, sprinkle of nuts on there. Oh my gosh, like it can be so delicious. So that is one of my favorite ways to get in berries. But of course, like I said earlier, I eat them in smoothies. I eat them in salad dressings. When do I not get berries in my diet? Almost never, because they're delicious. So berries are easy. We don't have to dwell on berries. Okay, the last category, nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds come pretty easily for me as well. You can put them on almost anything. You can make a paste out of them and put them like instead of mayo. You can make almost all my salad dressings now are homemade, and I put a sprinkle of nuts or seeds in all of those so that they have that creamy, you know, delicious undertone in my salad dressing. But here's my favorite by far, still out of everything, my favorite by far way to eat nuts and seeds is granola. So I still make granola that is wonderful, healthy, nothing wrong with it, and I put it on top of that bowl of berries, or I just eat it plain with milk. It's one of my favorite foods. So that is all of the categories. Just to recap once again: greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, nuts, and seeds. Okay. So I realize as I've been teaching people about this way of eating that it's kind of difficult to focus on all 6 of those things at once. Like most people aren't ready to, boom, dive into the deep end and like start eating everything with a meal plan, you know, and all of that. So if you would like to, I suggest to you this slower kind of leaning in method of working on all 6 of those, and that would be to take one group at a time. I recommend you start with greens because it's the most important foundational part of the food pyramid, and just take that one category and just try to get greens into your diet every day for a short period of time, maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks. So then the next 2 weeks you'll take beans and just focus on getting beans, lots of different recipes of beans. You'll have some that are like, yuck, we're never making that again, and you'll have, and it's okay because beans are cheap, and you'll have some that are like, okay, we'll keep that one, that's a good bean recipe. And you can, you know, have them for dessert, have them for breakfast, have them for lunch. Just try all kinds of things in that 2-week period and get yourself a few recipes that you love, and then move on to the next category. So if this sounds like something that you are interested in doing, like if you're just inspired just a little bit, then I'm considering doing like a Friday lunch, that I would just have a Friday lunch every week, and whoever can make it, and we just focus on one of those categories a week, and just share recipes and just, you know, bring the potluck of whatever the recipe is. So like every week we'll be like, oh, we'll try, you know, Anne Marie's mushroom soup, and we'll try, you know, Camille's stuffed mushrooms, like whatever is the focus. If you're interested in that, please message me. Maybe I'll get something started that'll be a week, once a week potluck, and we'll share recipes, and we'll share tips and tricks of how to actually do it. Okay. So to finish off all of this, I just would like to leave you with the motivation and the hope that this is possible. You start out and the flavors are new and the textures are new, and it can be easy to get discouraged. And that's why it's best to start one category at a time and just get used to it before you move on. And I would just encourage you that after just a short time period, like literally just 6 weeks to 3 months, depending on, you know, the faster you do it and get it over with, the faster you'll be rocking and rolling with this new lifestyle. But let's say you go slowly at it. 3 months, really literally only 3 months. Like how many of you have tried diets and you didn't even, you know, 3 months later you were like pooped out and it didn't benefit you at all, right? 3 months, if you just can take those baby steps, the aggregation of small improvements, if you can just take those baby steps, they will add up. Okay, so I've leaned into this lifestyle before, and I have jumped in. And most of you know, just from your association with me, that when I was pregnant this last time, I got gestational diabetes, which just means that it's a weakness that I have with my pancreas, and the stress of pregnancy made my blood sugars bad enough to diagnose. So what that meant for me is like listening to my midwife on the phone tell me that this is real, that I have this going on. Like before I even hung up, I was not disoriented. I was not afraid. Even though the statistics that come with pregnancy, gestational diabetes, it's pretty bad. Like it's pretty dismal. 50% of them will have type 2 diabetes within 8 years, 50%. Like That's yucky. So even though I knew the statistics weren't good, I had done the research. I had loved on Dr. Furman. I had loved on all these other foodies, all these other health net experts. And I knew that I could manage it. I knew that I could heal my body and my metabolism with food. And so I dove in. Like, I literally did everything to the T, and I felt amazing. And I want to pull up this picture for you because, like I said earlier on this fireside chat, I get huge, like, you know, pear-shaped, big butt, huge hips, like the boobs just, you know, come out to here. I just, and my face gets like super round. Like, I get huge when I'm pregnant, okay? This time I did not, oops, that's not the right picture. Excuse me, let me try again. This time I did not get huge with my pregnancy. Okay, here we go. So I'm sorry that it's like my whole family in there. I'll try to zoom in on me there, but there's me on the end. I am, oh my gosh, like, hopefully, let's see if I can move these. Oh, good. Woohoo. Okay, so here's me there on the end of this pregnancy picture at my sister's wedding. I literally only had 3 weeks left until I delivered at this wedding. So I'm like 9 months, almost 9 months pregnant, like super ready to pop. It's June. And do I look miserable? I don't. Like, I should have pulled up the Facebook post so I could read it to you. But at that point, I was amazed at how good I felt. As a pregnant lady, I was sleeping through the night. I looked good. People commented all the time, oh, you're just glowing. You just look wonderful, Rebecca. And it was like a huge motivating factor to me. How good I looked, how good I felt. That during one of the most difficult times in your life to eat well, I ate the best that I could. I had like no excuses. So guys, what I'm saying to you is none of the excuses you might be able to come up with are going to resonate with me. We can get around anything. Living in the middle of nowhere, got it. Tons of kids, got it. Doing it pregnant, doing it nursing, got it. Like I can do this doing it working, got it. Like you can do this lifestyle, traveling, any of those other excuses. Those excuses are not enough. Don't let them hold you back. I promise that you don't even know how good you could feel. Let me say that one more time. You don't even know how good you could feel because you've never dove in that far before. Okay. It looks like Janet has her hand raised. Janet, did you mean to raise your hand? I can't unmute you on my end. Oh.
Yes, I did raise my hand. So I just wanted to just second what Rebecca's saying. So I have been at convention time. I saw Rebecca and was just like, oh my goodness, her skin was beautiful. She had all this energy. She had this brand new baby. And I was asking her questions about what she was doing. And we went for lunch and she ate this big old salad and I was eating my, noodles and pasta and all that goodness. And she was just kind of telling me what she was doing. And I kind of was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you, Rebecca. This tastes fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know how many months it was after, but I got a really, really strong impression that Rebecca had something that I needed and that she could teach me. And I messaged her and was like, Rebecca, can you mentor me? She's like, well, on what? What do you want? Like, on food. And we've met a couple of times and she's done these demonstrations. And I'm just so excited that she's offering this to you guys because it was the best coaching. And I've paid for coaching. I was vegan for 3 years. And I paid 2 other people to coach me on this type of lifestyle. And I always reverted back because it's a mental game. It's a mental and an emotional game. And this is the first time. And I also know, I'm definitely more ready this time than I ever have been, just simply for lots of different reasons. But man, Rebecca knows her stuff, and the way she talks about it, you just can't not do it. It's like, of course I'm going to eat this raw onion. Oh yes. And of course it tastes fantastic. Like,
Of course.
this is, yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to say that I've been able to keep this up, and I'm not perfect at it. I do have, you know, but it's a part of my lifestyle. Like the other day, yeah, my family was having some chicken, and I ate some chicken and things like that. But I find that my body is craving these foods. I have enough in my wheelhouse now where when I think I'm hungry, I think, oh, I need garbanzo beans, or I need mushrooms. Like, my body is starting to learn that rather than craving the cheeseburger and trust me, my body's learning to trust me that when I'm hungry, it will trust that I will give it, something that is nutritional. And so I crave it more than I crave the other things.
Wow.
It's really trippy how your body can change. And what Rebecca is saying is so, so true. And what she's offering you is so, so awesome. So I hope you take part in it. And after I'm finding, so I did eat that chicken the other day, my wrist and I had the most incredible headache. You would never believe. And my wrist is on fire today with pain. I never even knew I was in that much pain. Or I was dealing with that type of headache all the time before I started eating this way. So thank you, Rebecca, for sharing this with me. And I am.
Oh, you're muted, Janet. Did you mute yourself?
Oh, I just said I'm excited to learn more. Thank you for teaching.
You betcha. Thank you so much for saying that, Janet. Like Janet said, you don't understand how lousy you feel until you don't feel lousy. You can't, it's impossible to comprehend it because you can't be free of it until you are. So I just want to leave you with that hope that you can be free of it. I did beat diabetes. I am not at risk for having it at all. Neither my baby nor I had any of the complications that come along with it. And it's not just because I'm lucky. It's not. I'm not healthy or energized or sleeping well or have emotional stamina because I'm lucky. It's because I've slowly, over the last few years, worked on these habits until they've become enough part of my life that I don't have to think about it too much anymore. So I encourage you, if you're starting this path, you can get to where I am. If I can do it, anyone can do it because I'm a food addict like everyone else. So this foundational step will, if you don't have it in place, you won't be able to achieve the other healthy foundations that we'll talk about in later months. This is it. This is the key. Thanks so much for joining me here on this fireside chat tonight. Please do share, or you can keep the recording and rewatch it after I post it, and just get this ingrained in your mind. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for helping me feel like what I'm saying is important. Have a good night.